What's up, Geometry? Thanks for tuning in for your Chapter 4 quiz review. This is going to be over lessons 4.1 through 4.3, so we're here to check answers. Let's go ahead and get started. Graphing quadrilateral ABCD with the following vertices, and then we're going to use the translation rule to graph that translation. So the first thing we want to make sure is, did we plot the points ABCD correctly? So here's what that should look like with A, B, C, and D all plotted. Now let's take a moment and try the translation. The translation rule states I need to do x plus 4, which means I need to go right 4, and then y minus 2, which means I need to go down 2. So let's start with letter A. I'm going to count 1, 2, 3, 4, and down 2. So A prime will end up at 0, negative 1. B would go 1, 2, 3, 4, down 2 is here, 1, 1 for B prime. C, I go to the right, 1, 2, 3, 4, down 2. This is at 4, negative 1. And then D, 1, 2, 3, 4, down 2, I get at D, 2, negative 2. Connecting my points together, it just looks like I shifted my quadrilateral down and to the right just a little bit. Number 2, graphing this quadrilateral, new points, but now our same points, but now I'm doing a translation of x minus 1, which just means to the left only a little bit. So first, let's go ahead and plot our original points pre-image ABCD. So here's our quadrilateral ABCD, and now let's use our translation rule going to the left 1. So each of my following points is just going to go to the left 1. A is at negative 5, 1. B is at negative 4, 3. C is at negative 1, 1. And D is negative 3, 0. Connecting all those points, it just shifted over just a little bit, so there is going to be some overlapping that is going on, but otherwise that one was pretty simple. Number 3 says to write the rule of the translation of the pre-image to the image. So this one, what I would do is I would just pick a point, like point Q, and I would try to figure out how did Q get to Q prime. Remember, our rules need to start with X and then go Y. So X is to the right or left, and it looks like I went to the right 1, so that would be x plus 1, and then I went down 1, 2, 3, so that means my rule should be y minus 3. So right 1, down 3. Again, the image of this one, this is another translation, so again, pick a point and decide where you went. What I would maybe recommend is, you can pick any one of these. I thought C was the easier one just because it's out further. So I went over, and if you notice, these are going over 2, 4, 6, 8. So this is like negative 2. This is positive 2, positive 4, 6, and 8. So C goes 2, 4, and now this is 5, down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I went right 5 because of my intervals. And then after I went right 5, I went down 6. So my translation rule would be x, y with my arrow attached, x minus 5, or sorry, x plus 5 because it's to the right, and then y minus 6. Okay. You might have messed up on that one because you didn't catch on to the intervals there, so just be very careful here. I didn't say anything about it here, though, because these intervals were going up by 1s. Okay. Number 5, graph the polygon with the given vertices in its image after the reflection in the given line. So the first thing we're going to do is graph all of our original pre-image point. Okay, so here is our original point of D, E, and F, and now what I need to do is graph it for the line y is equal to x. You can remember the rule for y is equaling to x as changing it from your B and your A. So let's go ahead and talk about that rule first and maybe write down our original point. So the rule we're going to use is just switching around our x and y values, because as we graph this line, y equaling x is going to go through the origin. Okay. So this is what our y is equal to x line would look like. So point E, instead of that being at -2, 1, E prime is now going to be at 1, -2. And I'm going to do that in a different color just so we can see the differences there. So here is E prime. F, instead of at -1, -3, it's now going to be at -3, -1. So -3, -1. So kind of overlapping here. And then D prime, instead of -5, -1, it's at -1, -5 down here. Oops, right here. So as we connect all those points, they are overlapping one another, but our line of reflection is this blue line here. We're going to try the next one. It's another reflection, but now we have a reflection over x is equaling to 3. So we're going to plot our original points, draw our line, and then show our reflection. All right, so the first thing we have is our original points. Next, we're going to draw our line of reflection. That's where x is equal to 3. So that means it's going to be here on this line where x is equal to 3. Now we're ready to reflect over that line. So K is only one step away from the line of reflection, so that means it's one step on the other side for K prime. L is 1, 2 steps away from the line of reflection, so another 1, 2 steps gets us to the other side. J is 1, 2, 3, 4 lines away, steps away, so we're 1, 2, 3, 4 on the following side. And then M is only one step away, so we're one step away on the other side. And as we connect our points, this is an overlapping reflection, but that is okay because we are just following the reflection rule. Okay. 7 and 8 talk about lines of symmetry. And we talked about rotational symmetry. The line of symmetry I'm seeing for this one, there's one that's going horizontal, and there's also one that is going vertical. So I'm seeing 2 total lines of symmetry. And I did notice that, yes, this one does have rotational symmetry. The only rotational symmetry that would work would be 180 degrees because it would just flip it upside down. Remember, you can also rotate your paper to determine if it's the same symmetry or trace over the shape and then rotate over it to see at what points is it rotating and showing that symmetry there. Number 8. I also saw that this one had a line of symmetry, but there's only one line of symmetry, just right down the middle. And this rotational symmetry, there is none because in order to have that shape be the same thing, I would have to rotate it 360 degrees. So we would just say no for that one. The last 3 are going to be rotations, and these are where we want to make sure we remember what our rotation rules are. Okay. All of these are going to be showing counterclockwise rotations. One is 90, one is 180, and then one is 270. So if we go back and look at our rotation rules, which was 4.3, a rotation of 90 degrees shows the rule of A, B changing to -B, A. So what I do is I go ahead and list my original points, write how that rule changes, and then plot the new points. So let's start with that. A, B, and C. A is at 1, 1, B is at 2, 4, and C is at 4, 1. So to switch these around, the B's are going to be all negatives or their opposites, and they'll be switched to the front. So A prime would be -1, 1, B prime would be -4, 2, and C prime would be -1, 4. So that when we plot that point, or those points, A prime is -1, 1, -4, 2 is B prime, and C prime is -1, +4 up here. So we see a 90-degree counterclockwise rotation there. This one was hopefully nice because whenever we do a 180 counterclockwise rotation, both points just change to their negative because we're just changing it 180 degrees across the coordinate plane, and they are staying in the same position but just opposites. So what I did here is I started with listing my points. So point J is at -1, -2. K is at -4, -4. H is at -1, 2, 3, 4, comma 1. And then I is -2, comma 2. So how this pattern is going to change, J prime is just going to switch to its opposites, 1, comma 2. K prime will switch to its opposites, 4 and 4. H prime, opposites, 4, -1. And I prime, opposites, 2, -2. So 1, comma 2 is J prime. K is 4, comma 4. H is 4, -1. And I, 2, -2. So now we see a 180-degree rotation about the origin, switching all coordinates. The last one for our 270-degree rotation, remember our rule for this one is A comma B changes B and -A. So start by listing your points. We have D, E, F, and G. Point D is at -3, comma 2. Point E is at -1, comma 4. F is at 1, comma 2, and G is at 1, -1. And all that means is point A is now going to go in the back, and they're all going to get their opposites given to them. So D prime would be 2, comma 3. E prime would be 1, comma 4. F prime would be 2, -1. And G prime would be 1, comma 1. Hang tight. Did I do something wrong here? 1. I got G prime. 1, -1. So yes, B goes in the front, and then A gets negative. So yeah, both of these actually end up being negative. So lost my brain there for a minute. Okay, 2, comma 3. 1, 2, 3. Here's D prime. 1, comma 4 is E. F prime is 2, comma -1. And G prime is -1, -1. Okay. I messed up one. I messed up E. It's 4, comma 1. So 4, comma 1. There we go. Okay. So that was why I was like, well, this isn't looking right, guys and girls. It isn't looking right at all. Okay. There we go. So now when we connect our points, that's looking better, like a 270-degree counterclockwise rotation.